My daughter won't eat at dinner. Not a bite. Not even her favorite pasta, the one she used to twirl around her fork until her cheeks were stuffed and red. She just stares at the plate, jaw tight, eyes wet. When I ask her what's wrong, she doesn't answer. She shoves her chair back so hard it screeches across the tile. Then she disappears into her room and slams the door. It isn't the first time. For weeks, something's been shifting. She hides under hoodies, changes in the bathroom, avoids mirrors, and every night dinner gets quieter. But it isn't until I see her phone light up on the counter that I realize the truth. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. We moved here for the schools, or at least that's what I told people. The real reason was simpler. I wanted safety, stability, a place where my daughter could feel like she belonged. This town seemed perfect. Perfect lawns, perfect cars, perfect mothers in yoga sets, clutching green juice. The kind of place where everyone has a monogrammed toad and a golden retriever, where family portraits hang in every foyer. I tried to blend in at first, bought neutral blouses from consignment, tied my hair back plain, parked farther down the street so no one would see my car. I even baked banana bread for the first PTA meeting, wrapped in parchment and string. They glanced at it once, then went back to arranging their charcuterie boards and catered trays. It didn't matter. Once they labeled me, it stuck. And the label they gave me was single mom on welfare, not said with kindness, but like a warning, like I was dangerous. I heard the whispers. She's probably struggling. No wonder her daughter doesn't fit in. They didn't bother hiding it. And my daughter, she felt it too. That night, sitting at the table, her plate untouched, I realized the weight she'd been carrying wasn't just from the girls at school, it was from their mothers too. I glance at her phone, glowing on the counter. My chest tightens. I shouldn't look. I should respect her privacy. But I do. And what I find makes my hands shake. At first, I thought it was just me. The looks, the pauses, the way conversations shifted when I walked up at pickup, a ring check, a quick scan of my shoes, a glance toward my car. Then, I started hearing the whispers. At the bake sale, I set down my banana bread on the end of the table, still warm, wrapped in parchment with a ribbon. Brielle's mom leaned toward another mother and said, she probably baked because she couldn't afford the fundraiser buy-in. The other one laughed and whispered back, I heard she's on food stamps. They didn't bother lowering their voices. I felt my cheeks burn, but I forced a smile anyway, poured lemonade into paper cups like I didn't hear them, like their daughters weren't watching. Because that's the thing about these women. Their children absorb everything. The raised brows, the sugary insults, the way they pull their Lululemon jackets tighter when I walk by. And my daughter, she absorbs it most of all. At soccer practice, when she tripped over the ball and landed hard, I rushed forward. Before I could reach her, Brielle's mom smirked. Maybe if she laid off the snacks, she'd keep her balance. Another mom laughed, covering her mouth like it was just a joke. But my daughter heard. I saw it in the way her shoulders slumped, the way she dusted herself off without meeting anyone's eyes. Then there are the playdates that never happen. One afternoon, Ava tugged at her backpack straps and asked softly, Brielle, can I come over this weekend? Brielle didn't even pause. She plastered on a smile and said, sweet as syrup, oh, I can't. I'm going out of town. Ava nodded, trying to hide her disappointment. Okay, maybe another time. But later, as the girls spilled out of the building, I watched from the car as two of Brielle's friends squealed and threw their arms around her. I can't wait for Saturday, one gushed. Your mom said we could sleep over, right? The other chimed in. Brielle giggled, pressing a finger to her lips. Shh, don't say it so loud. Ava froze. I could see it on her face from across the sidewalk. The flicker of realization, the forced smile, the way her shoulders sank just a little. She climbed into the car quietly, staring straight ahead the whole ride home. That night, when I knocked gently on her door, I found her sitting at her desk, head bent, tiny scraps of thread scattered across the surface. She was making bracelets, fingers moving fast, as if each knot could push the ache away. She didn't cry. She didn't even look up. She just whispered, I'll make extras, in case someone wants one. And in that moment, I wished I could take the thread from her hands, tie every cruel word into a knot, and throw it so far she'd never feel it again. But all I could do was sit beside her and watch her keep braiding, quietly trying to weave herself a place she'd never been given. Even in the parking lot, the cruelty lingers. One mom once leaned toward me, smiling sweetly. You're so brave. Raising her alone must be exhausting. I don't know how you do it without a husband's bonus. I wanted to tell her I wasn't exhausted, that I was capable, that I had built a career before stepping back for my daughter, but I just nodded, because in their world, explanations only make you smaller. And Ava, she's learning those rules too. At lunch, she sits at the edge of the table, offering pieces of her snack pack, waiting for someone to take her up on it. Most of the time, they don't. When they do, they roll their eyes. One girl actually said, "This tastes cheap." She told me about it later, trying to make it a joke. "At least they ate it, right?" she said, her smile too big, too forced. That night, she skipped dessert, said she wasn't hungry. The worst part is how they erase her in plain sight. Brielle's mom posts daily about kindness on Facebook. "Teach your children to lift others up," she'll caption, under a photo of her daughter surrounded by friends at a sleepover Ava wasn't invited to. They post "Be kind" stickers on their SUVs while teaching their kids exactly how to exclude mine. And every time Ava comes home with that brittle smile, every time she says, "Maybe next time, a little piece of me breaks," I tell myself it's just kids being kids, that I can outlast the whispers. But when I see Ava pushing food around her plate, silent and small, I know it's not just kids being kids. It's a system, a hierarchy, and we are at the bottom. That night, after she storms away from the table, her phone buzzes on the counter. The screen lights up. I glance at it, my chest tight. I shouldn't look. I should respect her privacy. But I do, and what I find makes my hands shake. At first, it was subtle, the kind of cruelty you almost miss if you're not paying attention. One afternoon, Ava came home wearing a different sweater. When I asked where hers was, she hesitated. Finally, she admitted one of the girls had accidentally spilled juice all over it at lunch. Then they offered her a hoodie from Lost and Found. Oversized, frayed, smelling faintly of mildew. She wore it the rest of the day. The next week, it was lunch. Ava had packed a banana from home. By the time she unzipped her bag, the peel was bruised, speckled from being tossed around all morning. One of the girls plucked it from her tray, held it between two fingers like it was contaminated, and sneered. Do you always eat trash fruit?" The table erupted in laughter. Ava's face burned red, but she stayed quiet. She just took the banana back, walked to the trash can, and dropped it in. Then she sat down again, hands in her lap, staring at nothing, while the other girls peeled open shiny Lunchables and sipped from pastel tumblers. When she came home that day, she told me she wasn't hungry. I opened her lunch bag later and found her sandwich still wrapped, untouched. The cruelty didn't stop there. During gym class, someone tugged at her shirt from behind and snapped, "Careful, it might rip." The laughter that followed echoed in her ears long after the bell rang. At pickup, I overheard Brielle's mom chuckle to another, "Cute girl, but with that body, middle school will eat her alive." They didn't bother lowering their voices. That night, Ava pushed her dinner around her plate in circles. When I asked if she wanted dessert, she whispered, "I don't deserve it." She was 12. 12. But the worst betrayal came from inside our home. Her best friend, the one who'd sat at our table, called me Mom, borrowed Ava's favorite pajamas during sleepovers. One afternoon, I found Ava's phone buzzing with notifications. Against my better judgment, I looked. The group chat was alive with photos, not just from school, but from here, our house, our pantry. Boxes of off-brand cereal, dented cans, a jar of peanut butter scraped almost empty. Someone had been sneaking photos to prove she didn't belong. The captions made my stomach drop. "Guess this is what dinner looks like at the food stamp house." Explains her thighs. If I ate like that, I'd stop eating too. I scrolled further, pictures of her at soccer, frozen mid-stride, mouth open, unflattering angles, every detail weaponized. One had the caption, "Whale on the run." Another, "Bet she can't even fit in a prom dress." And then, the one that broke me, a photo of Ava sitting at our kitchen table, laughing with that very same best friend. Someone had circled Ava's stomach in red. The caption read, "Imagine having to look at this while you eat." It was her best friend who'd sent it, the girl who'd raided our pantry, the girl who'd smiled in my kitchen, who I'd hugged goodnight. That night, Ava collapsed into me, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. Between gasps, she whispered, "They look at me like I'm wrong, like my body takes up too much space." Her small hands pressed into her stomach as if trying to fold herself smaller. When they laugh, I can feel them measuring me, counting everything that's ugly, like I don't even deserve to stand next to them. Her words carved into me like glass. I stroked her hair, whispering, "You don't have to earn kindness. You are enough. You always were." But she shook her head, eyes hollow. "Not here, Mom. Not in this school. I'm nothing here." I sat awake long after she finally fell asleep, her face blotchy, her pillow damp. The brown banana, the laughter at soccer, the pantry photos, the way she pressed her own stomach in shame. It all played on repeat in my mind until the truth sank in. They weren't just excluding her, they were erasing her. And if I didn't act now, they would succeed. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Not rage, not revenge, resolve. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. They wanted my daughter to shrink, to disappear. They wanted her to believe there wasn't room for her in their perfect little circle. But I was going to show her what it felt like to take up space, and to have that space honored. I still had contacts. Years in PR before I moved here. I'd spent a career making stories go viral for clients who wanted attention. Now, for the first time, I wanted to use those skills for something that actually mattered. I made calls, pulled favors, quiet, deliberate, not revenge, never revenge, but justice. And 1 week later, the whispers started. A flyer appeared on the bulletin board. A post went live in the PTA Facebook group. A buzz swept through the carpool line like a current. Stonebridge Girls Empowerment Festival, sponsored by an anonymous donor. Free activities, workshops, and in bold letters that no one could ignore, Lululemon pop-up. Every girl in the district gets 5 pieces. Free. That was all it took. Within hours, group chats exploded. Moms speculated who was behind it. Some claimed it must be a celebrity donation. Others bragged it was probably us. Brielle's mom walked a little taller that week, dropping lines like, "Well, we do believe in investing in girls." Lila's mom posted on Instagram, hashtag girl power, hashtag blessed to give back. The date circled in everyone's minds. Friday, the festival. By the time the night arrived, the whole town seemed to descend on the school grounds. The outdoor lawn had been transformed. White tents lined with racks of brand new leggings and crop tops. A runway-style stage with lights strung overhead. A secure area roped off where the girls could shop, while their parents and siblings gathered in the crowd, buzzing with excitement. Music pulsed. Balloons bobbed against the night sky. Teachers volunteered as ushers, guiding girls to try on clothes, while moms clutched paper cups of wine, their faces glowing with anticipation. From where I stood at the edge of the crowd, I could hear them whispering, "This is incredible. Who paid for all this?" Maybe it was the district. No, it had to be Brielle's family. They'd never admit it, but you know they love attention. No one looked at me. Not once. They didn't suspect a thing. And then, when the sun dipped low and the stage lights flared, the MC called for silence. The girls in their new clothes gathered by the stage, glowing, clueless. Their moms clustered behind them, waiting to be applauded for generosity they hadn't given. And I knew this was the moment. My pulse hammered as I walked forward. My hands trembled when I reached for the microphone. "Tonight," I said, voice carrying over the speakers, "is about celebrating our girls, about showing them they belong. But before we go any further," I paused. The lights blazed. The crowd hushed. "You need to see something." The projector flickered on. Gasps rippled instantly. Not glossy ad campaigns, not empowerment slogans, screenshots, captions. Ach Ingra. Group chat. Ava's bruised banana mocked as trash fruit. Her soccer photos circled in red. The pantry shots, our pantry, mocked with laughing emojis. And then the words, "Whale on the run, food stamp house," explains her thighs. The outdoor crowd, hundreds deep, fell into a stunned silence. Girls shifted nervously. Parents stiffened, eyes darting toward their daughters, praying no one recognized the usernames. But everyone knew. Teachers gasped. Some covered their mouths. Others shook their heads in disbelief. And Ava, my Ava, stood in the middle of it all, frozen, realizing the secret shame she'd carried was no longer hers alone. I let the silence stretch, let the shame hang heavy in the air. Then I spoke again. All proceeds from today's private event will be donated to the Body Positivity and Eating Disorder Recovery Foundation, sponsored by Ava's mom. Gasps, whispers. Some moms turned red. The same ones who had mocked Ava's body were now faced with a choice: swallow their pride, apologize, and take the free clothes, or leave empty-handed, exposed as hypocrites. Some stormed off, too ashamed. Others grit their teeth, muttered awkward apologies, and forced smiles at Ava. For once, they were the ones shrinking in discomfort. This, I said, pointing at the glowing screen, is what our daughters are living with. This is what cruelty looks like. And it doesn't just hurt them, it teaches them. It teaches them that their worth depends on labels, or lunch boxes, or the shape of their bodies. And I refuse to let my daughter, or yours, believe that lie any longer. For a moment, the outdoor stage holds its breath. The bullies shrink, the crowd buzzes. Ava just stands there, trembling, caught between humiliation and awe. And then, slowly, the tide shifts. Applause begins at the back, hesitant at first, then stronger, rolling across the courtyard in waves. Teachers clap, parents clap, some moms cry, and every eye turns toward Ava. But not all applause, not for everyone, because in the middle of it, Brielle's mom stares at the screen still glowing with cruel captions, face drained of color. Her daughter tugs on her sleeve, whispering, "Mom, what do we do? Everyone knows." Another mom hisses, "I thought they were poor. I thought she was just desperate. How? How did we get it so wrong?" Confusion swirls among them. They had built an entire narrative about us. The single mom on food stamps, the daughter too big for the circle. And now, here they were, surrounded by racks of free Lululemon, funded by the very woman they had mocked, exposed in front of the entire town. They don't know where to look. Their daughters don't either. One girl clutches a pair of leggings she'd squealed over minutes earlier. Now she stares at them like they're poison, her face hot with shame. Slowly, awkwardly, she puts them back on the rack. Another follows, folding a sweatshirt with trembling hands, avoiding everyone's eyes. The sound of fabric sliding back onto hangers echoes louder than the music, and everyone notices. Other moms whisper. Teachers shake their heads. Onlookers cross their arms, watching silently as the self-proclaimed best moms shrink, their perfect manicures fumbling as they shove merchandise back, cheeks burning. The humiliation is surgical. One by one, the bullies and their mothers back away from the racks, heads low, lips pressed thin, eyes fixed on the ground as if walking a gauntlet of judgment. The crowd doesn't jeer. They don't have to. The silence and the stares are enough. They leave not as leaders of the pack, but as the spectacle, their shame as visible as Ava's had once been. And then, two girls remain behind. Not Brielle, not Lila, but Ava's old best friend, the one who took photos of our pantry under pressure. Her face is streaked with tears as she steps forward. "I'm sorry," she whispers, voice breaking. I thought we were better than this. I thought it was just jokes. I didn't realize how cruel we sounded." Another girl joins her, shifting nervously. "I laughed," she admits, her voice carrying. "I thought it was harmless, but it wasn't. It was mean, and I don't want to be like them." The crowd softens, some nod, others murmur, and Ava, my Ava, looks at them, her chin trembling, then nods. "I accept your apology," she says simply, "but now I know who my real friends are." The girls look down, ashamed but relieved, because Ava has grown beyond them now. And the irony is brutal. The ones who tried to make her feel too big are now the ones everyone watches shrink. The ones who mocked her for taking up space are the ones trying to disappear. And Ava, she finally takes her space. She stands taller, shoulders back, the crowd still clapping, not out of pity, but out of respect. In the days that follow, the ripple spreads. At school, Ava isn't invisible anymore. Students whisper about the event. Teachers smile at her in the halls. Girls who never spoke to her before slip notes into her locker. "You're amazing. I want to be your friend." Meanwhile, Brielle's mom deletes her Instagram after local parents flood it with comments. Lila's mom stops showing up at drop-off, too ashamed to face the stares. At pickup, the same women who once shut me out whisper behind their hands. But not about me. About them. About the girls who walked away with nothing because they couldn't face the truth. And Ava, she wears her favorite leggings again, the ones they once mocked. Only now, when she walks into school, the laughter doesn't follow her. The whispers don't sting because they aren't about her anymore. They're about them, their insecurity, their fear, their smallness. Because the truth is, it wasn't the stage or the clothes that changed anything. Those were just props. What really changed the room was Ava's courage to keep standing when they wanted her to disappear. Money didn't give her respect. Her strength did.